Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We're going to play chess while all these other boys are playing checkers.
Let's get as many points as we can. It all starts right here. Be ready?
And the green flag is in the air. Here they come, storming to turn one. This is incredible!
Can he get it done? The grandstands are going wild.
Yeah, let's go, baby!
Oh, yeah, boys! They're crashing mid-pack. Checkered flag is out.
What a finish, boys.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
everybody. Welcome once again to the Ratfink Racing League on Tuesday night. My name is William Tiller. I am joined up here in the booth by Jacob Williams.
Drivers, start your engine!
Hi, boss man. So have a good day today. Like I said, load all the fans. Thank you guys for coming out here. We got a great crowd today. Everybody listening at home. Stay cool out there. Everybody enjoy the race. Do it all run all day long. Get ready to go. Good feeling about today, guys. Stay focused. Be smart. You guys been doing a great job out there road on the outside. Like for nothing other than that, for the rest of the race.
Short track racing here on a Tuesday night. And we are thundering and lightning into corner number one as this race kicks off officially. Oh no! Big impact to the 6 of Victor Etheridge in the top side wall. Tonight we are warm and toasty in Homestead, Miami Speedway, the 305. You see damage and scrape that top side wall. It's time to go racing once again in the Ratfink Racing League as George Ross in the 79 takes us into corner number one. Action starting to pick up here off of 2. Oh my goodness, as the machine comes off of 2. It's time for the Tuesday night Ratfink Racing League. Hello and welcome to the Ratfink Racing League Tuesday Night Truck Series. Tonight, this is Week 16, playoff race number 2, taking place at the Lady in Black. My name is William Tiller. I'm joined up here by Oscar Jensen. Oscar, it is time once again to get things rocking and rolling here tonight at Darlington. Without further ado, let's check out that starting grid for tonight's playoff race.
So as we go through the lineup here, we'll get these drivers underway quick. But, Will, like you said, it's going to be a big race here tonight. Drivers getting ready to take the green flag. Jordan Truss on the pole. Jesse Gordon to his outside. Those two drivers are going to be the talk of the town. A little bit of trouble further back, but they get it collected for the moment. And actually, as we say that, they've got we got a caution out on track, so a little bit of a quick caution for the moment. But I mean, Will, this is kind of Darlington here, and we kind of expect to see some incidents here and there throughout tonight's race, and already an early one here.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a quick caution to start the night. Already one caution flag in the air. It's just a time up here in the booth to get things settled. And Oscar, I don't even think we got around for lap number 1 there. So that was a crazy start here tonight. But it will be 120 laps once this thing does get going green once again. Here live on Turn Sector Media. If you are new to the Ratfink Racing League, there are no fast repairs for these drivers. Only 3 sets of tires in the garage for tonight's race. As mentioned before, that green flag flew. This is playoff race number 2. And Oscar, as we're waiting for the field to go ahead and get settled up here, we talked about how this mathematically could be an elimination race with only about 5 races to go in the season.
Yeah, you really need to come out here and have a good race tonight. I know we were kind of talking about it pre-race there for a moment, but I mean, really what you got to do tonight is you got to be able to survive, especially if you're a little bit further back in the points. We'll pull the point standings up right now for you guys, but if you're Crosby or Tommy Wynn sitting 41 to 43 points back entering tonight's race, Will, you really got to have a good night and stay out of trouble as best you can and try and collect as many points as you possibly can. I know this track, you know, they call it too tough to tame for a reason, and if you can find your way, maybe with a decent finish at the end of this thing, you could potentially save your season or put yourself back in the picture. So a lot of these guys are gonna be looking to come out here with a solid finish.
Yeah, and you look at last week's results with Tommy Wynn and John Crosby, absolute heartbreak at the end of that race, especially for Tommy Wynn, who ran inside of the top 3 all night long in that race, all the way to the very end. As the pace lights are off of the pace truck, we'll get a look at our leaders. That is Jesse Gordon, Jordan Trost out on that front row. Those are also the top dogs in that championship hunt as well. Here at this short track, it's going to be quite a battle. You got Dustin Kleba right behind them as well. He's got a win here in the last 2 weeks. Paul White at 25 is up there as well on the high side. That is our top 2 rows as we're coming off turn number 4. Number 2, excuse me, going down the backstretch here, Oscar, as we take a look at this field. Quick caution here tonight. Do you expect things to go a little bit smoother here on this restart?
Yeah, well, I think this restart probably will be able to get a lot of these drivers maybe, realizing that that first initial start was a little bit of a issue, and I think maybe a little bit more give. It is 120 laps, and this place will be demanding the whole way through. So these drivers hopefully figured out that initial start. They might need to give a little bit extra room here.
Well, let's kick it off once again. The lady in black. It is green flag in the air as Jesse Gordon, Jordan Trost take that green flag into 1.
Everybody getting through momentarily, pretty nice, and looks like we'll make it through turn 1. So those issues that happened. Oh, a little bit of a wall tap. That was a hit right there, coming off of turn 2. Can't quite tell who that was.
That was a hard hit right there. That's the 95. That was a hard impact there into the wall. That's Jim Jackson in that 95. Rocking that Oakley light blue paint scheme. Definitely going to affect the steering. So far, so good. Right now, I believe that is 1 green flag lap in the books. This race continues on. Oscar as we're off the corner and down the backstretch.
Yeah, Will, we saw Jim Jackson have that hard hit right there a moment ago, and the exit of 2 really will get you. It's a little bit more narrow than what you have to deal with down in 3 and 4. So you got to take that into consideration when you're driving around this track. Oh, another hit there for Jim Jackson in the 95. So Jim really not able to get away from this outside wall so far.
Yeah, I think there's some major steering issues behind the wheel of that machine. You see him just fading on that grid. See also in this mix there, that's Tony Burleson in the 97 right behind him. Just to stay inside of the top 15, that's Brian Sousa in that 60. You see him on that rear shot, running right on board with that 97 into 3 and 4. Things do seem a little antsy here so far here tonight, Oscar. Just like last week's race, you could feel that anxiety, you could feel that energy start to build up as Jesse Gordon's leading the way here in lap number 8.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, definitely as we go through these next couple of weeks, the drivers know that these weeks are really counting down, especially if you're one of those chase drivers fighting for the championship. So, you'll probably expect to see those guys run a little bit further up towards the front, but you also see them probably be a little bit more aggressive, maybe making that move where we won't see, we wouldn't have seen them make earlier in this season, just trying to gain whatever they can on this championship hunt.
Curtis in that 29, he's holding off the 63 machine of Justin Clapper. It's a newcomer in the field here tonight. We've seen those newcomers make huge waves as the 95 of Jim Jackson just can't hold that position. The 97 Tony Burleson will get by. The 60 of Brian Sousa will get by. A little BOGO action down the backstretch.
Yeah, Jim Jackson is in trouble there, William. He's just has not been able to get to a comfortable spot out on the racetrack, and lap after lap he's really getting stuck on that outside lane, and he's had a few run-ins with that outside wall, but he's also just getting freight trained when trying to just get in line. So the 95 off to a really rough start here at Darlington.
As Jesse Gordon takes us out of the corner down the backstretch. Into 3 and 4 we go. Jesse Gordon continues to lead the way. Dustin Kleba just made a move on Jordan Trost. Kleba in that one. will take the second spot. These three continue to lead the way 12 laps into this race. There's Dakota Reeder in that 85 as they head to 3 and 4. I believe George Strauss may have just scraped that topside wall a little bit, Oscar.
Yeah, it's going to be so close with that sort of distance that you have from that outside wall. That's really how you're able to find speed, is running up towards that wall. You want to get as much really sort of, I wouldn't say maybe track position area position. I guess like realistically you want to position yourself up towards the wall in 1 and 2. In 3 and 4, sort of a 50-50. You probably want to run a little bit lower to save tires, but you'll probably see guys run up a little bit higher to make a pass, or on the longer run trying to gain some sort of speed out there. But I mean, really, you don't have a lot of room for error. And right there you see how close Dakota Reeder got with that right rear into 1 and 2. So will it, you know, these guys, they're gonna be leaving it all out there tonight, but you got to be careful. And we've already seen some guys have troubles here, but for the majority of these guys, I think they really know what they're doing, spending maybe a little bit extra time in practice there as well to get to know this track as best as they possibly can.
Lap 15 here from Darlington. This is week 16 as we're going to ride on board with the 85 machine of Dakota Reeder. He is currently in that 4th position. Great season so far for the 85. Finds himself right in the mix of that championship hunt as well. A victory here tonight can go a long way for the 85. Doing pretty good right now, just chilling inside of that top 5 into 1 and 2. Oscar, you're starting to see the field separate just a little bit now. Of course, our top 3, Jesse Gordon, Dustin Kleba, Jordan Tross. The rest of the field starting to fan out. If you're a driver like the likes of Todd Perrott, currently in that 9th position, Tom Ringer currently in that 8th spot, do you just sort of hang out and let this race play out, or are you starting to feel that grip slip away here early on?
Well, that's a great question. Is actually we'll see a caution out on the racetrack. But back to your question quick, you know, I was never good at Darlington here, Will. I could never figure out how to correctly run this racetrack. So about 10, 15 laps into a run, I kind of knew that I was probably going to be in that spot for the long run and not really probably see anybody after that point. But, I mean, I think a lot of these guys, you know, just like we were starting to see there, kind of getting into the groove, getting comfortable, maybe not necessarily wanting to overstep their boundaries, but just wanting to ride.
As we're under caution now for the second time, it looks as though we'll have some takers down pit road. That's Jordan Tross down at 79. Also, some other guys are heading down as well, it looks like. Curtis is down at 29. Caution flag for the second time here. Week number 16 of the Ratfink Racing League Tuesday Night Truck Series. Jesse Gordon stays out. Dustin Kleba stays out. Paul White, Justin Clapper, our top 5. Tom Ringer. John Crosby now back inside of that top 10. We saw that great run last week out of him, Oscar. And another newcomer with Terry in the 86, currently in that 8th position. Under caution here once again for the second time.
Yeah, another early caution, but, you know, Will, I think this is probably a good sort of point to have a caution. I mean, you saw it right there. You saw a little bit of a split between some of these front runners. Jordan coming down pit road, you know, you see Gordon staying out. So did Kleba. So a little bit of a split. We got almost directly half and half who came down pit road there, half who stayed out. You have a few guys further back that I believe may have come down to top off, but this is going to be interesting to see if those guys who came down here, see what kind of strategy that works out to be. I mean, it's already, like you said, already 2 cautions here in about the 18 laps, but coming to 19 that we've done. Obviously, a handful of those run under caution, so it's not like we've had a super long green flag run so far here. So it'll be interesting to see what those guys who just came down pit road can do.
As we get ready for this restart here tonight, 19 laps in, let's run through our new top 10. We got Dustin Kleba, Jesse Gordon on the top, Paul White, Dakota Reeder to 3rd and 4th, Justin Clapper, Tom Ringer 5th and 6th, John Crosby, as mentioned, up to that 7th position. He's up there with Christopher Terry in that 8th position. Seth Cooper in that 96 is in 9th, and Anthony Burleson in that 97 will be our top 10 here on this restart. As we get things ready to go here at the Lady in Black, talked about how this could be an elimination race for some of those lower tier drivers in that championship hunt. Victory can go a long way. You got to take home that checkered flag to do it. Who will it be here as this restart is getting ready to go? As Jesse Gordon in the Batmobile will get us rocking and rolling once again as the green flag is in the air.
And a great launch there for Jesse Gordon to get out front. He'll have about a half a trunk length lead over Dustin Kleba. Remember, Kleba winning in his first start a few weeks back. He looks to put a pressure on the back bumper of Gordon here as they work down the back straightaway into 3 and 4.
They don't seem to be waiting at all, Oscar, as Dustin Kleba is going to look to the inside off of 3 and 4. He's going to run out of momentum, though, as Jesse Gordon will shut the door across the start-finish line under green for one whole lap. This action now single file into 1 and 2. Dakota Reeder, Paul White, Justin Clapper on your screen off of 2.
Crosby right behind them as well, trying to make a move to the inside as Clappers. Now we see another caution on the racetrack, and this time it'll involve the 77 of Anthony Harden.
I'd have to say, Oscar, nothing runs like a deer except for when that deer heads into the inside wall. So it's going to be running a little bit differently after that. Heartbreak, though, for the 77 Anthony Harden, who one of the most consistent drivers, I'd have to say, in the middle to start the season. Things kind of went a little sideways there for the 77 machine. Could just never get that consistency going. Now you see here to end the season. Saw last week the heartbreak there at the end of that race, and now tonight as well. And that 77 machine is going to have some heavy front end damage on that truck.
Yeah, definitely a very few difficult weeks here for the 77 team. And like you mentioned, that pretty decent lick to the front end. These truck noses are pretty flat, but that truck looks like it's caved in a bit, and that could be potential engine issues if it did hit too violently. But let's go ahead and take a look at this replay and see what happened to the 77.
Ooh, it's going to happen in front of him there, Oscar. Oh, man, Brian Sousa is involved in this. There's a lot more trucks in the 77. Anthony Harden, Brian Sousa's involved. Looked like Zachary Wynn's going to be involved. The 78 of Cooper Brackens is involved as well. I like that paint scheme, the Skittles paint scheme. You don't see that very often. But, man, that was a few trucks involved in that one there, Oscar.
Yeah, that was, like you said, that started up a little bit further ahead. Didn't necessarily have to start with Harden there, but you see the 69 get into the wall there. Top prod, which really caused these guys behind to check up and run into one another.
Watch it here once again. It's the replay brought out the third caution of the night. It may have happened with the 69. Just the slightest of checkup into the entry of 3 and 4. Causes that little bit of chain reaction behind him. And for the 78 of Cooper Brackens, you saw Zachary Wynn involved in that. Brian Seuss is going to have some heavy damage as well. Man, you just hate to see it for some of these guys. I'm just hoping for a good finish here tonight, the Lady in Black. It is a tough race, boy. But you just hate to see your night essentially end with something like this early on.
Yeah. Oh.
Oof.
Zachary Wynn just nowhere to go there. That was, you see that heavy front damage to him as well. So, I mean, unfortunately, it's going to be tough for Zachary Wynn to maybe keep up with some of that damage there. It looks like that might take a couple stops on pit road there, Will. But still able to keep it kicking around. It's just he's going to be having to deal with a probably sluggish sort of truck feeling out there.
One of these races is going to be that last truck standing. Pace lights are off. Restarts just around the corner. Jesse Gordon, Dustin Kleba, our top two. Dakota Reeder, Paul White, Justin Clapper, John Crosby, Christopher Terry, Seth Cooper, Anthony Burleson, Keith Vaughn, our top 10 on this restart. Here comes the field off of 4 into the restart zone. Green flag in the air as the Batmobile takes us into 1.
Oh, another good start there by Kleba in second. He looks to try and, a little bit of a wiggle there coming up at 2. He looks to try and keep that gap to a minimum here on this restart. But as they go into 3 and 4, Gordon going to have a little bit of the advantage with the clean air. Now Reeder will move himself into his 3rd. Then you see a gaggle of trucks here for 4th, 5th, and 6th position directly behind him.
Yeah, Paul White right in the front of that gaggle. You got John Crosby right on the tail end of him. Seth Cooper in the 96. Justin Clapper in the 63. A newcomer in the 86. That's Christopher Terry. He'll look to the inside of the 63 into 3 and 4. Has to check up, though. Ran out of momentum. Oh, as you see the 86 is into the wall. That's Christopher Terry saying, hey, how you doing, to the topside wall.
Yeah, like we talked about, these exits of the corners as well as the centers, they will get you. You overdrive just a bit and you'll find yourself easily getting into that outside wall and losing time. That kind of jumbled those guys up, but you see now John Crosby taking a look to the inside of Paul White as White gets into the outside wall.
John Crosby looks to the inside of the 25 off of 3 and 4. Has to wide turn that thing to avoid the 2.5 coming off the top side of the racetrack. He'll continue to look to the inside of 3 and 4. Now goes high side. Oh man, the 96 now right on the back of Seth Cooper will look to get around the 73 off of 2. A lot of swapping of positions right here. Oscar inside the top 5.
Yeah, and it's really... It's looks like it's been difficult to try and make a pass on the driver that you're trying to get around. Again, not having a lot of room, but these trucks also seem like they're becoming a bit of a handful as well. So as we work down these laps, you know, we'll probably see these guys start to split it out a bit like we saw just before that caution a few moments ago. But you want to try and gain as much as you can here while you have sort of that close distance of the truck in front of you.
Talking about gaining position, just Christopher Terry. He'll gain a position over the 63 of Justin Clapper. He'll move up to 7th. Now we're going to go 3 wide for just a moment as the 79 of Jordan Tross will look to the inside of the 63. He goes steamrolling by the 63 like he has rockets on those Goodyear Eagles. That's the 79 of Jordan Tross up to 8th in this race off of 2. As you mentioned, Oscar, we're starting to get a little fanned out. Lap 30 into 3 and 4.
Yeah, Justin Clapper now under fire once again from behind. He'll be able to hang on to that spot for the moment, but right behind them as well. I mean, you have 11th through probably, I'd say, 16th, 17th position. You have Tommy Wynn here trying to get around Judson Curtis as I can't quite tell who that is in the outside wall. Oh, that was close. Oh, that was Burleson.
That's Tony Burleson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Tony Burleson on the top side wall. Almost caused a huge wreck back here. But there goes Tommy winning the 71. Really needs a great result here tonight. At least some points. He has to walk away with tonight's race with some kind of points to go up in those point standings. As now he's around the 5 of Brandon Hinton, who looked to have some issues there momentarily. Watch out for that little pass. Look to the inside of Jesse Gordon into 3 and 4. This is the battle for a second off of 4.
Yeah, Dustin Kleba was able to make the move there. A lap to go into 1 and 2 to get around Jesse Gordon. Now Gordon gonna lose the spot in the same set of corners. This time it'll be to Dakota Reeder. So Gordon losing 2 spots. Oh, into the outside wall. That was a decent hit, and actually we got a caution out on the racetrack. I think it's gonna be Tom Ringer.
Oh, that's Tom Ringer, Justin Clapper. I think this is right on that pod we were watching a little bit earlier. Justin Clapper, heavy damage on that 63. You're going to see on the left side of that truck if you're watching along with us here on YouTube. Racing out of Mooresville, Mid-Pack Motorsports.
Yeah, that was right in that middle pack, and we had just kind of been on them as we changed to the battle for the race lead. But I mean, there's a good solid amount of trucks there in that middle of the pack, and boy, that left side looks a little bit worse from that camera angle. So definitely a decent lick to the left side, driver's side.
And it looks right now down pit road, only the 77 of Anthony Harden and the 63 of Justin Clapper are down right now. Looks like there are some other trucks behind him. There is Jesse Gordon down pit road, Paul White, John Crosby. A whole gaggle of trucks heading down right now. Our newcomer, Christopher Terry in the 86, Jim Jackson, hitting in that 5. You see him right behind here as well. Now, Oscar, you know, we've had some of these races this season that have been big green flag runs. We've had these sort of start and stop races as well. You know, how do you sort of plan out your pit stops in a race like this? Of course, you want to get 3 sets of tires, but you can kind of, you know, strategically plan those fuel stops and a little start and go. Do you start to do 2 tire stops? How do you think these drivers navigate a race that's a lot of start and stopping to start this race?
You know, that's a good question, Will, and that's, you know, really, that's the call that you got to make if you are the crew chief in, you know, on the box. That's really what you get paid the big bucks to do. But if you don't have that, you know, sort of lucky break to have somebody at the top of the box calling the shots for you, you know, when you're out there as a driver, you know, just trying to complete this race, you're constantly thinking about what you're going to do. And I think when you have a race that starts off with a lot of cautions, you start to, you know, get a sort of mindset what this race could turn out to be like, but you never know. And I think that's what makes these decisions so difficult. And, you know, we saw Jordan come down under one of those first cautions to kind of play a different card than majority of these guys who decide to stay out for a few more cautions. So, I mean, really, I think it really has to do with not only experience, but also what position you are in, whether that's out there on the track, championship, point standings wise. I mean, really, you got to factor in a lot of things. And if you have that little experience of maybe 2 to 3, if maybe even more years under your belt here, you might be able to outsmart some of these other drivers.
Let's see if one of those drivers can get their first victory of the season here tonight. Will it be one of those top dogs, as we like to say? One of those guys with the victory will lead us here on this restart. Dustin Kleba, Dakota Reeder second, Seth Cooper third, Jordan Tross fourth, Katie McConnell fifth, Tommy Wynn sixth, John Crosby seventh, Paul White eighth, Brandon Hinton ninth, and Christopher Terry will be our 10th truck on this restart as the green flag waves. There goes Dustin Kleba into 1.
Kleba with a good start there. Now he's going to be the control truck and get that taken care of for the moment here. A little bit of issues. Ooh, that was close for a second with Dakota Reeder. That could have been a lot worse. Oh, Crosby.
Oh, wreck. We're wrecking into 3 and 4. Big pile up right in the middle of the corner. John Crosby is involved. Oh, man. Oh, there goes the 78 as well. That's Cooper Brackens. Oh, caution flag waves once again here at the Lady in Black. Oh, man, I hate to say it, Oscar, but that's one of those drivers we were sort of keeping an eye out here tonight. Needed to get some points to keep that championship hunt alive. Ah, man, depending on how much damage is on that truck, I don't know. He was on quite the run, though, Oscar, before this trouble here. He was moving up through the grid, so he could have had something to say there at the end. And we'll see how far he could probably navigate back up through the field, but going to have to definitely spend some time down pit road after this one.
Yeah, and that was honestly, Will, I'd say that was kind of in that sort of right area to where we've seen a lot of these cautions fall around that 10th position. I don't know how it happened, so we'll have to go take a look at it here in just a moment. But yeah, you know, definitely not a good sort of thing to have if you are John Crosby, who, you know, was really needing to come out here with probably a decent run, and now he's going to be set back just a little bit further.
Dustin Kleba leading the way here at the Lady in Black. Let's check out what happened here. Brought out this latest caution. We'll check out the replay now for you here. Live on YouTube. There's John Crosby in the 73. Oh, he just gets loose there, Oscar. There's nothing else there that really happened. He just gets a little bit loose going into the corner. A little bit of an oversteer, and it's just a chain reaction after that. Man, hate to see it there for John Crosby in the 73. Watching here once again, Oscar, and I think it's just going to happen all with the 73. We're right on board here into 3 and 4. Oh, man. Yeah, at least from our point of view there, Oscar, it just looks like he may have just gotten loose by himself. And at a short track, there's really nowhere to go. And man, that's one of those bummers, because it just looks like nobody even clipped him. He just got loose.
Yeah.
Actually, I would have to say, Oscar, that may have ended his night.
Yeah, that's definitely, I mean, you know, there's different feelings and emotions when you know that something like that happens, whether it's, you know, getting maybe tagged from a different driver, or having something fall right into your lap. But, you know, when it's on you as a driver, it's a mistake that you make. It just hurts a little bit more. And again, it does look like Crosby is currently still sitting on pit road, so definitely going to be some implications there for that 73 and their chances at going for this championship title.
Let's try this once again, though. Dustin Kleba, Jordan Tross will take us off of corner number 4. Green flag will wave momentarily. There it is. Green flag is in the air as Dustin Kleba takes us into 1.
Kleba leading the way. Tommy Wynn there in the 3rd, trying to make some noise on this restart. And oh boy!
Oh, we got a wreck! We got a wreck coming off of 2.
I tried to figure out who that is.
Off of 2 into the inside wall. No caution yet. There are no yellow lights on the racetrack. We did have a truck get sideways. We have another one coming off sideways off of 4. No yellow flag yet. Jesse Gordon is pushing Tony Burleson along in the 97. Things are going crazy here. 42 laps into this race. We have Tommy Wynn up in that 3rd spot. He's doing great. Now cracking inside of that podium. What a run he's having here tonight into 3 and 4. There's our leaders. Dustin Kleba in the 1. Tony Burleson in the 79. They come off of 4. Oh boy, Jordan Tross. He's trying to get around. That's another side by side into 1 and 2.
Yeah, that restart was so eventful, so many things going on, and now you see the battle for the race lead. Kleba on the top, Tross there on the inside lane, shuts the door. So Jordan now to the point, Kleba back to 2nd. What a heck of a pass, able to do it in a pretty reasonable, pretty easy fashion. I don't think Kleba wanted to put up too much a fight and risk those two getting into an incident like you've seen a lot of these guys have so far when racing one another. But Tommy went back in 3rd. Boy, what a run so far for him.
Yeah, he's having a great race so far. So is the 2.5 of Paul White, who's just looking at the inside of the 71, has to back off. But the man on a mission is the man behind the wheel of the Batmobile. He looks at the inside of the 5 of Brandon Hinton. This is for the top 5. See Jesse Gordon inside of that cockpit. He'll get around the 5. He'll take back that top 5 position into 1 and 2. There goes the Batmobile. He has his sights set on the top of the grid, and here he comes.
And remember, Jesse Gordon was one of those drivers who pitted about 6 laps to go under that caution. So he was one of those drivers who had stayed out for a little bit longer and now trying to work himself back up to the 5th position. He'll have a little ways to go before he catches Paul White in 4th, Tommy Wynn there in 3rd, Dustin Kleba right there in front of them as well. So Jesse Gordon probably will catch them probably pretty shortly with those newer tires compared to these 3 drivers. But again, Will, it's getting around and trying to make the passes, which have been so difficult here.
Here he comes. He's to the inside of the one of Dustin Kleba. Here comes Wynn to the inside of 1 and 2. Tommy Wynn needs a big performance here tonight. He ran top 3 all race long last week. Oh my goodness, look at this cluster of drivers off in the corner. That's Tommy Wynn, Paul White, Jesse Gordon, and Dustin Kleba now into 3 and 4. We're 2 by 2, Oscar. As now Tommy Wynn will come out of this as the 2nd truck. He gets loose off of 4. This is crazy down the front stretch.
Tommy Wynn with the pass, but a little bit of a bobble there coming off at 4. That's going to cost him those positions that he gained. Now Paul White, Jesse Gordon, those 2 will move themselves around Tommy Wynn. So Tommy Wynn, who got up to 2nd briefly, will now fall back to 4th ahead of Dustin Kleba in the 1. But boy, Jesse Gordon making up a lot of time here on this restart and not making those mistakes that we've seen some of these other guys make while trying to get around.
Yeah, and they continue to chase our leader, Jordan Strauss, in the 79. Through all of this, has now a massive lead by over 2 seconds. On the backstretch we go. Paul White still holding off Jesse Gordon in that Batmobile. Also, Tommy Wynn is up to 4th, Dustin Kleba 5th, Dakota Reeder 6th, Brandon Hitton 7th, Tony Burleson in that 8th spot, Keith Vaughn in 9th, Christopher Terry in 10th, and we still have 14 trucks on the lead lap here, 50 laps in, now into 1 and 2.
Now we do have some of the guys that were involved in early incidents out of this race. We have at least, I'd say about 7 to 8 guys that are probably officially out of this race. You have a few other guys that are either a lap down or multiple laps down, which, you know, technically they are out of the race, but they're still running around the racetrack. So definitely a good portion of drivers here getting caught up in these early incidents tonight, which, again, as we continue to run this thing out, we're starting to see what we talked about a little bit earlier, the sort of spread through the field. The closest really that we've seen these guys battle with one another is Jesse Gordon, who's continuing to move himself up. He's all over the back bumper of Paul White as they enter 1 and 2.
You saw this here on this green flag run last time. The field tends to get a little fanned out. Jesse Gordon still on the back bumper of that 2-5 of Paul White. Now heading into 3 and 4. We're going to step aside for just a moment, but we'll stay live here at Darlington. We're going to go side by side here at Turn Sector Media.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We're gonna play chess while all these other boys are playing checkers.
Let's get as many points as we can. It all starts right here. Are you ready?
And the green flag is in the air. Here they come, storming to turn one. This is incredible!
Can he get it done? The grandstands are going wild.
They're crashing mid-pack. Checkered flag is out.
What a finish, boys.
Welcome back to the Lady in Black. We're jumping back to this action right here on your screen. This is a battle brewing up right inside the top three. My name is William Tiller. I am joined up here by Oscar Jensen. And Oscar, it is sort of a lullaby race, if you will. We've had some caution flags, kind of bunched everything back up. And then we have these fan-out spans of this race. But right inside the podium, we have Jordan Tross, Paul White, and Jesse Gordon all battling out for a podium spot.
Yeah, like you mentioned there, Will, there's been a handful of cautions there towards the beginning of this race, and now it looks like things are kind of starting to get more settled in, and this is our longest green flag run of the night. And like you mentioned, the top three, they're all under a blanket of one another. Jordan Tross had moved himself out to a pretty reasonable lead, but now you see Paul White in the 25 applying pressure to the back of the 79.
Jordan Tross crosses that start-finish line as now we are over the halfway mark of tonight's race. We're racing 120 laps here in the beautiful state of South Carolina. There goes Paul White looking to the inside. Not quite there yet. I suspect these drivers will stay lockstep with one another. 1, 2, 3 on the racetrack. But you see it right there, Oscar, in your view. Here comes the 85 of Dakota Reeder trying to catch that draft coming off the 1-0, Jesse Gordon.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, Dakota, he's sort of creeping his way forward, but he is also one of those drivers. Him and Jesse Gordon, those guys are on the same strategy call. So they've been out here for, I believe, 25 laps. So they got 25 laps under their tires, where you have Paul who has been out here for 30, and then Jordan out has been the longest at sitting at 41. So that's kind of where you see those 3 drivers behind been able to be a little bit quicker than that 79, but I wouldn't count out Dakota Reeder. These guys ahead, when they start to get all over each other and battling, Dakota could find himself finding that momentum to get himself maybe around each one of these guys for the race lead.
Yeah, and you're seeing a lot of checkup between these top 3 as well. Some big runs coming off of 4. There goes the 2.5 of Paul White. This could be a battle for the lead heading into 1 and 2. Will he press the issue? He will stay right there to the inside. There goes Paul White. He'll ride that momentum. Huge run. There goes Jesse Gordon as well, as Jordan Trost is going to get lock jam on the top side of the racetrack by a lap truck. New race leader off of the corner. Paul White. Jordan Trost gets swung huge out of that corner. Here comes Dakota Reeder to the top side of the 79. Dakota Reeder now moves up to 3rd. A crazy sequence of events is now Paul White leads the way off of 4.
And what did I say there, Will? One little sort of a race between these drivers, or one little mistake, one little issue that you catch a driver at the wrong place at the wrong time, like we saw Jordan do. That opened up the door for Dakota to get past the 79, but also closing the gap in more and more because of those checkups from in front. So Dakota went from probably about a second or so back and now right there behind these 2.
Paul White leading the way. Dakota Reeder in the 85 in 3rd. Jesse Gordon in that 2nd spot. The only thing you can't do if you're Paul White, you can't overshoot your shot. As the race leader right now, you have to maintain, stay patient. Jesse Gordon's going to try to bait and trap in that 2nd spot. You got to stay calm, cool, collected, leading the way here now off of 2. Dakota Reeder will put the battle on Jesse Gordon. See what happens with that. Now into the corner, 1 and 2 we go. Paul White leads. What a battle we have here. Oscar top 3, now off of 2.
And Jordan, who has all but fallen outside of the view of these top 3, he finds himself almost 2 seconds back behind, as that lap truck really caused a lot of mishap to that 79. But here we go. The battle for 2nd heating up. Dakota Reeder takes a look to the inside of Jesse Gordon. He'll run low into 1 half to check up, gives that spot back. So Gordon will hang on for the time being. Dakota Reeder will have to try and build up another run to get another shot at taking that 2nd place away.
1, 2, 3 on the racetrack now. Quite fanned out. Dakota Reeder's still trying to the inside of the racetrack. Oh, Jesse Gordon's going to get it a little loose there in the apex of 3 and 4. I wonder if that's going to open the door for the 85. The 85 will stay on the back bumper into 1 and 2. Top 3 settling in here. 71 laps into this race. Going to jump back inside of that top 10 and check out some other battles going on. We have quite a battle between Tony Burleson, the 97. Christopher Terry in the 86 is right there. Brandon Hitton in the 5. That's 6th, 7th, and 8th. We have some battles brewing right there, Oscar, all inside of the top 10. There goes the 96, or the 86 to Christopher Terry. He's trying to get around the 97 to Tony Burleson. All these drivers probably know that winning tonight's race may be not possible, but still a top 5, top 10 is a great thing to have as we head into 1 and 2.
Yeah, and Will, that's really what you want to do here at a place like this. If you know you don't have winning speed, you want to come out with the best possible finish that you possibly can. Oh, hard hit there for the 5 of Brandon Hinton coming after 2. And, you know, when you see these guys start to make those mistakes, you probably know that you can be a little bit more consistent than those guys. So you want to try and get past them. Again, trying to get the best finish that you possibly can, even though you may not have winning speed. Each one of these drivers, if they can get that top 5 or that top 10, that could be a huge confidence boost.
As we stay inside of the top 10, there's the 29 of Curtis, rocking that Bluebell ice cream paint scheme. Tony Burleson to the 97, the 86 of Christopher Terry. You see all of them on your screen right now. Heading off of the corner. Christopher Terry will take that top 5 spot away, as it looks as though Tommy Wynn is heading down pit road in that 71. One of our first takers here in this pit cycle. Tommy Wynn down pit road in the 71. Currently down to the 10th position on that stop, as we wait other guys to head down here on this green flag run. Dakota Reeder trying to get around the 1-0 Jesse Gordon. Paul White's loving this in his rear view as we cross that start finish line into 1.
Yeah, pit stops will be coming up, and we see the 79 hit pit road as well. Remember, he's stayed out here the longest right now, sitting at 51 laps, Will. So this 79 has been out here for quite a while, and probably will be a little bit of a longer, I wouldn't say too long, but probably about 5, maybe 10 laps before. Ooh, a little bit of a bobble back there for Reeder coming off before, but as I was saying, it'll probably be a little bit longer before we see these top 3 who pitted a little bit later and have a little bit more time to work with out here on the racetrack. But, Will, you do got to think about if a caution came out during these green flag pit stops, some of those drivers who have to pit a little bit sooner, those could be in danger of having a sort of bad positioning.
And folks, we just saw Justin Kleba on your shot right there. He's currently a lap down there in the 10th position. He'll get around our leaders here to the inside, as Dakota Reeder in the 85 and that 1-0 Jesse Gordon. They'll continue to keep that battle brewing for that second spot. Now Dakota Reeder to the inside of the 1 of Dustin Kleba, the 1-0 of Jesse Gordon right there as well. Now my question to you, Oscar, as they head into 3 and 4, do you think these drivers are aware that the 1 machine is a lap down here in this battle?
You know, I think they definitely will be getting that information from their team. But, Will, it's not like he's a lap down. It's not like he's been a lap down all night. We saw Kleba be up there battling for the top spot. So, you know, you got to keep that in mind as well, is where is the 1 of Dustin Kleba going to cycle out to, and how much of a speed difference is this currently to maybe Jesse Gordon or Dakota Reeder? Like, those teams are probably looking at the lap times right now and trying to figure out, okay, when do I need to be on pit road? When do I have to be, what do I have to call it, you know, at the point of time to be able to beat maybe some of these other drivers out there. So, you know, they're definitely keeping an eye on him and watching those lap times, as, again, like I said, Kleba was not just some dude having a slower night. He was up there competing for the race lead.
Here comes Paul White down pit road. Very interesting. I love that take there, Oscar, here on lap 79. It's one of these things where you have to balance it as one of these drivers that elects to take that early pit window. If you catch back up to these leaders, of course, you could race it out, get that lap back the hard way. Or you can kind of simmer back and let these guys head down pit road, then get on the gas, get your lap back. Justin Kleba electing for that latter strategy where he's already gotten around these guys, got his lap back the hard way. When everything recycles back out, Oscar, essentially that's going to put the 1 machine of Dustin Kleba as our race leader. But how much will be left of that truck by the time everybody cycles out? We will have to wait and see, as now Jesse Gordon heads down pit road.
Jesse Gordon heads down. Dakota Reeder stays out. So Dakota Reeder, out of the top 3 that we saw, he's right now been out there the longest and continuing to do another lap. So I'm a little bit surprised out of this call, Will. I'm gonna be real honest. I would have thought that maybe, you know, you would have got an extra lap or 2 over those other 2 guys that were out here with you, but to see him go as far as he is right now, you know, that's gonna hurt a little bit. When he cycles out after a pit stop, he will be back quite a ways with how big of a difference these new to old tires make.
Yeah, and you look at that scoring and timing live here on YouTube, Turn Sector Media. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff. But as Oscar was just mentioning, at the 85 of Dakota Reeder heads down pit road now. Let's just say he goes down a lap in the process. Look how many names on that scoring and timing are currently a lap down in this green flag pit stop cycle. That would drop the 85 way down that grid, Oscar. And right now, if this thing stays green, Dustin Kleba is going to be the man just on the Thanos store, or just living life up there, because he will essentially have nobody around him except for the 69 of Todd Perron. And he'll be leading this race, I would have to assume, by 8 or 9 seconds when it all reshuffles out.
Yeah, that's kind of the call that that team made. Pit a little bit earlier. Right now, they have been out there for about 27 laps, so roughly about halfway in what we would probably see be a full fuel run or a full green flag run. So, you know, they definitely... Now
Todd Perron's down. Todd Perron just headed down there.
Todd Perron down. So that, you know, once you see these two who have remained on pit road, you know, like you said, Kleba will have the lead lap. It's just, or the race lead, excuse me. It's just a matter of how long can he manage that and how quickly will these other guys catch up to him.
And remember, guys, Dustin Kleba got his lap back the hard way, so he was able to pass these leaders, get his lap back. These leaders have yet to catch back up to Dustin Kleba to get that lap back the hard way as the one did to them. So although as David Persecki heads down in that 92 here in lap 86, the equipment, everything is going to start to swing majorly to the 79 of Jordan Tross. I mean, we're going to see that big time here in these next few laps. But it's going to take some Herculean effort to try to catch the one machine of Dustin Kleba. Now, if a caution flag waves, all of that goes out the window, Oscar. We don't have to worry about intervals or any of that stuff. But if it stays green here for the next 30 or so laps, you could be looking at Dustin Kleba as our race winner here, as now we're looking at the one. He may be heading down here as the 85 Dakota Reader's down, as the one machine of Dustin Kleba would now take the race lead from the 85 Dakota Reader. And that will put Dustin Kleba in the lead by about 4 seconds. He has about a 4-second lead on Jordan Tross, so we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be quite the battle here. That's going to shake out to about 3.5 seconds. But really, Jordan Tross is the only truck, Oscar, on that scoring and timing that may have a shot at this.
Yeah, and I actually don't know. Well, I don't. I'm wondering if Dustin Kleba can make it to the end on a full tank of fuel there. He pitted pretty early, and it's going to be close on if he can make it or not. Now the rest of the guys behind him, about 7 to 13 laps on those drivers for, you know, which I'd say probably is a good area to make it. Now, you probably want to save a little bit of extra fuel again for a caution or some sort later in this race, but like you mentioned, if we do see a caution within the next 10 to 15 laps, that would pretty much eliminate whatever chances there are to seeing this stuff cycle through. And I think that would probably help Kleba and his team maybe guarantee them a sort of complete finish and not have to worry about that fuel from inside that race car.
As we look now, lap 90 here on the Tuesday Night Truck Series in the Radfink Racing League. Keeping an eye out on that scoring and timing. This is our race recap so far. We've had 5 cautions for those 15 laps, 9 lead changes. Most laps led belong to that Batmobile and Jesse Gordon. Fastest lap also belongs to Jesse Gordon, who right now, Oscar, is behind in this race by about 4 seconds. Less than 30 laps to go. Question is, Jordan Tross will catch our leader. That will happen. But will there be enough time for Jesse Gordon and Batmobile, who has been the ultimate driver here tonight? Will he have enough time to catch Jordan Tross in that 79? We'll have to wait and see. 30 laps to go here tonight, folks. This is the best part of the race. This is playoff race number 2, as now the Batmobile, currently in that 3rd spot, takes us off of 4.
And if we look at the track map on the right side of the ticker towards the top. You know, you see Kleba, you see Tross right here. Those two obviously nose to tail, and Jordan will probably be able to get around the one here in probably the next lap or two. And then you have to go back about probably a corner, if not a full set of corners, to see Jesse Gordon. But you know, when you have the fastest lap of the race, you kind of know how to make up that ground. And like you mentioned, well, I think we will see Jesse Gordon catch at some point if this thing goes green. It's just how quickly can he do it, and will he have enough tire to battle Jordan for that top spot, which could come down to the race victory.
As now we're off the corner, we're going to make it 28 laps to go. Make that 27 laps to go. Jesse Gordon currently in that third spot. Dustin Kleba second. Jordan Tross, our race leader, in that 79. Of course, we spoke about how Dustin Kleba is on old equipment, was able to pass our leaders the hard way during this green flag cycle, which has put him inside of this top 5. And I would have to say, Oscar, he is all but guaranteed a top 5 finish if he can just keep this thing going to the end. Here comes the Batmobile right on the back bumper of the one. He'll move to the right side of the racetrack across that start-finish line. Jesse Gordon now moving up to second in tonight's race. David Bersecki in the 92. You see him right behind that 1-0. He is multiple laps down as now we're off of the corner. Jordan Tross leading the way down the backstretch into 3-4.
And boy, Jesse Gordon is really starting to catch that 79 machine of Jordan Tross, who is really not being, he's not really hit the extra speed that he probably needs to hit to hold this 10 at bay. I mean, we look at the last times here inside, that's pit road comparison, but we look at the last lap time here and you see how much quicker Jesse Gordon is compared to Jordan there. So really, I mean, you see it right here. Gordon closing in so quick on the back bumper, that 79. As they come around to 24 laps to go, he'll make a move to the inside.
There goes Jesse Gordon to the inside of that 79 into 1 and 2. An easy pass right there is now Jesse Gordon back in that top spot. Off of 2 we go. Jordan Tross in that 79 now has to battle along with the 92 of David Bersecki, who is multiple laps down, 1 lap down in that 11th spot. Jesse Gordon now our clear leader off of the corner. This is where he drives the best. Oscar, the sails are in the air. It is smooth sailing to the finish as Jesse Gordon takes us into 1.
Yeah, Jesse Gordon needed to play his cards right. He pitted at the right time, was able to get separated. You saw the 85 of Dakota Reader. He was right there with the Jesse Gordon beforehand, and now as we look to the timing and scoring, you'll notice that Reader finds himself about 8 seconds to 7.5 seconds back behind Jesse Gordon. So those extra laps, that did a lot of damage to what Reader had out there on track before coming down pit road.
So we watch Jesse Gordon come off of 2, our race leader. He's put some lap trucks now in between him and the rest of the field. As we'll check in with the rest of the field here, we see Christopher Terry in that 9th spot. He's in a battle with Tony Burleson back there. That's to say inside of the top 10. We also have Brandon Hitton. Oh, there goes Christopher Terry into the top sidewall as we jump to him there in the 86. He's off with 2 now. Currently in that 9th position. Just in front of these guys, Oscar, we have Brandon Hitton in that 5. They're about 3 seconds away from one another. And after that, it's a bit of a space game as in front of Brandon Hitton in that 5. Tommy Wynn currently in that 7th position of the top 10. Looks like to be in the cards for Tommy. But he is about 2 seconds away from Curtis in that 29. So we're seeing huge gaps inside that top 10.
Yeah, Tommy Wynn, who was up to second as his highest scored position on the night, still remaining strong here inside the top 10, like you mentioned just a moment ago. Right now running 7th. He's got a decent gap behind, and he's got a bit of a ways to catch up to Judson Curtis, who was about 2 seconds in front of him. So, you know, it is possible for Tommy Wynn to maybe catch 6, and if Kleba continues at the pace he's at, he'll probably get Kleba as well. But again, just needs to have a solid night, needs to continue to remain out of trouble, and Tommy Wynn will probably find himself with a well-deserved finish as we head back up to Dakota Reeder, one of those drivers who pitted late, now sort of gaining ground on those guys who pitted very early and are starting to lose a handle on their race trucks.
As this race is ticking down, 19 laps to go, 18 laps to go. We want to say thank you for everybody tuning in to tonight's race, spending their Tuesday night with us, especially Mama Wynn out there watching the Wynn Brothers race team here tonight. Yeah, Tommy's had one heck of a season, that's 71. Currently in that 6th position now at Wynn Brothers Racing. We also want to say thank you for everybody else watching in tonight's race. This is week 16, playoff race number 2. Jesse Gordon now in quite the hornet's nest here, Oscar. Oof, this is nerve-wracking for that 1-0.
Yeah, if you're the race leader and you see you guys come up on you racing it out for position, you get a little bit nervous, and you know you don't want to push the issue, but you also want those guys to get out of your way as quickly as possible, and they sort of did that. But the question is, Will, if Jesse Gordon continues to hit the lap traffic like this and continues to lose a bit of ground, does Dakota Reeder have enough time within these last 16 laps to close down that gap? Remember, these two have about a 5-lap difference on his pit strategy, so Dakota Reeder, he's definitely going to have a little bit fresher tires to work with, but does he have enough time?
I don't think so. They're in the 85. He's about 5 seconds behind our race leader. We have to get around Jordan Tross and Paul White in order to even make a move on Jesse Gordon. Right now we see Paul White, Jordan Tross, they're actually going at it for that 2nd spot. Those two may be seeing their checkered flag hopes dwindle away to the Batmobile. But to finish on the podium could still be pretty nice for those two drivers, Paul White, Jordan Tross, Dakota Reeder. We also have Curtis in that 29, our top 5 right now with 15 laps to go. There is that 86. We see him in the shot. That's Christopher Terry, Tony Burleson. They're battling out inside the top 10.
And like we mentioned earlier, Will, in this race, these guys, they really want to get the best position as possible, and with only under 13 laps or 14 laps to go, you start to see these guys maybe pushing a little bit harder, which has closed down the gap between one another versus what we might have seen if this thing was still going green for another run. But you see the issues there from the 86 getting that dirty air. He loses a bit of ground there into 1 and 2.
You also see a battle right in front of these guys. You can't see it on your screen because it's about 4 seconds ahead of these guys as Brandon Hinton and Tommy Wynn, they're battling out for that 6th position. Brandon Hinton showing a lot of late race speed in that 5. Good on him for holding on. Tommy Wynn needs to hold this position to get any kind of points out of tonight's race. As they're off of the corner of the 5 machine of Brandon Hinton, looks as though he might get around. We'll jump back up here. Dakota Reeder, he gets around the 79 of Jordan Tross. You called it, Oscar. The 85 could have something for our race leader. He has a long way to go, though, with only 12 laps to go.
Yeah, only 12 laps to go, but he has closed down a little bit more. It's down to 4 seconds for Dakota Reeder now. Will, I want to be optimistic and say that Dakota Reeder can catch him in these last 11 laps, but it's going to be so difficult. I mean, this track just tears up these tires, and the longer you start to run on these tires and the more moves that you try and pass, I mean, it really just hurts those tires so much. And I don't know. It's going to be so close to see if Reeder can actually catch him. But Jesse Gordon, I mean, he has the advantage of being the race leader, having that clean air, not have to deal with passing drivers except for those ones that he has to put down the lap, so not being as aggressive. I don't know, Will.
Dakota Reader now looks to the inside of the 2-5 of Paul White. They'll head to 3 and 4. This is a battle for a podium spot. Either going to be second or third between these guys. Jordan Tross is right here in the mix as well, not too far along. As now we'll make it 9 laps to go. What a showcase drive out of Jesse Gordon as we keep an eye out on that podium for you folks at home. I mean, Jesse Gordon just put on a clinic here tonight. He may win this race by about 4.5 seconds, 4 seconds. Just doesn't seem to be slowing down at all. You talked about tire wear. It looks as though he's getting faster as this race is playing out. Now off the corner, off of 4, going to make it now 8 laps to go. Starting to see a little bit of a drop off there, Oscar, but I may think he could just be letting off a little bit to maybe just squeeze just a little bit out of that 10 machine to end tonight's race. I mean, all you have to do is come across the radio and let your driver know that he has a 4-second lead. And that intensity, I think, maybe drops down just a little bit behind the wheel.
Yeah, you're exactly right there, Will. I mean, like I said, the luxury of being the race leader and not really having to have too many trucks in front of you to work around. You know, you kind of get to run, you know, whatever pace you want to without fully losing a bunch of time, where Dakota Reader, I mean, he needs to absolutely be giving 110%. And these past couple of laps, Will, I just don't see the lap times coming out from Reader to close down that 3.7 second lead that he has to make up. And I was really interested to see what Reader would have done for a lap time there once he got around White and Tross, but it looks like it really hasn't been as big as an advantage as I thought. So, like you mentioned, I mean, Jesse Gordon just riding out front at this point in time, and this time around he'll be 5 laps away from collecting another checkered flag on the season.
Yeah, and this before this race is over, I don't want to call it too soon, but with 6 laps to go, now make it 5 across that start-finish line, folks. I want to start naming off some stats for you here as this race is closing out. Make 5 laps to go. With this potential victory, Jesse Gordon would now have 5 wins on the season. He would tie Jordan Tross for the most wins on the season. Now, also, if this result holds here, Oscar, Jesse Gordon came in tonight's race 4th in the point standings with a win. I believe this should put him back in the 2nd spot, right behind Jordan Tross for that championship hunt, as now Jesse Gordon will take us off of the corner. Down the front stretch we go here. Oh, that's the back stretch, as we're seeing a little bit of testiness going on between the 97 and Tony Burleson. I believe that's one of our newcomers.
Oh, someone's in the wall right in front of our race leader.
That's 29 of, I believe, Terry, as Jesse Gordon will now make it 3 laps to go. Throw up those 3s. Rest in peace to Dale Earnhardt, because Jesse Gordon has just 3 more times around the Lady in Black.
Oh boy, well, that was a moment there for Jesse Gordon, seeing all that happen right in front of him. The bobble out of, I believe, the 97, like we mentioned, coming down the back straightaway. Then the issues there into 3 and 4 from the 86. That was really what Jesse Gordon did not want to see. Thankfully, though, they kept it straight and they remain under green as Jesse Gordon comes around to 2 laps to go that time by. He is just a little bit closer to seeing this white flag, which would then make this race official.
What an absolute dominant performance, folks. We did not go rallycross racing here tonight. We didn't race a road course at Darlington. Those are the actual scoring and timing of tonight's race. As the white flag is in the air, Jesse Gordon will head into 1 and 2 with about a 4-second lead on Dakota Reader, a 5-second lead on the 3rd place finisher, Paul White. Those battles will play out here in just a moment. But heading into 3 and 4, Jesse Gordon in that Batmobile. Throw up the bat symbol at Cookout here tonight as Jesse Gordon will come off a 4 and make it 5 wins in the Ratfink Racing League Tuesday Night Truck Series, taking home the checkered flag at the Lady in Black.
Boy, what a heck of a drive out of Jesse Gordon. The right strategy call at the right time, and now Jesse Gordon will be able to celebrate another time this season after a dominating performance. Boy, what a statement, Will.
What a statement indeed, as it looks as though everybody else was locked into those positions. There were no changes inside of the top 10 as this race ended. Jesse Gordon, what a race. What a clinic out of the 10 here on a Tuesday night. Just blew the doors off the competition in more ways than one. We had those yellow flags to start and stop the beginning of this race. After that, the Batmobile just rose to the top, and he never left. He held it down all the way to the checkered flag, and now gets to burn it down here on the front stretch.
Burning it down, he indeed will do after a well-deserved win. You guys make sure you tune in, or continue to stay tuned in and stick around, as we'll be able to hear from at least our podium drivers here in just a few moments. But Will, what a heck of a race. Glad to see a sort of decent green flag run there to end this race after those early incidents to begin tonight's race.
Yeah, absolutely. You love to see a green flag run towards the end. You also, the curiosity makes you think, if we had a yellow flag, how this race would have played out. Would anybody have had anything for Jesse Gordon at the end? Judging on the lap times towards the end of this race, probably not. I just looked that way based on scoring and timing. Jesse Gordon was just above the competition here tonight. And it happens, Oscar. Sometimes you stumble upon tracks that guys are just far and above better than everybody else at. You know, sometimes you have road course ringers. You have guys that are really good at short tracks. And here tonight, you're seeing a man who is really good at a short track. So that was quite a performance out of him here tonight. And it's just one of those championship performances you love to see later on in the season.
Yeah, and you thought Jesse Gordon was already a threat. Now, I mean, you just got to have him highlighted and just have all eyes on that 10 team. I mean, Will, we like I said, we know this 10 truck is fast, but you give him a win, you give him the confidence boost. I mean, I don't think anybody is going to be able to stop him here if he starts getting on a hot streak to end out this season.
Before we get to our race winner, who continues to celebrate down the front stretch, we'll get a microphone to our race winner here in just a moment. I'm going to run through the unofficial top 10 here, as it was kind of chaotic there at the end. Of course, we saw Jesse Gordon, Dakota Reeder, Paul Waite as our top 3. We'll get to those podium finishers in just a second, as Oscar mentioned. Jordan Tross gets another top 5 here this season, finishing 4th. Judson Curtis, shout out to Judson, one of those newcomers here in the field, finishes 5th. Tommy Wynn does get a top 10 finish. I don't know if that's enough. Oscar finishes 6th here tonight. We'll have to wait and see for those point standings to be updated. Brandon Hinton comes home 7th. Anthony Burleson 8th. David Bersecki 9th. Dustin Kleba in that one falls from the race lead all the way to the 10th position, Oscar, towards the end of this race. Another fun fact here before we get to our race winner. Only 8 trucks will finish tonight's race on the lead lap, and that is out of a field of 24 trucks that took that green flag, Oscar. That just goes to show you, we only had 5 or 6 cautions, if I'm getting my math incorrect here. With that few amount of cautions, Jesse Gordon was able to just about lap out about 80% of the field. So it's just one of those historic drives that we saw here tonight.
Yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, 8 drivers on the lead lap at the end of this race. It's not easy to do, Will. I mean, we know it from a driver's standpoint and from a league standpoint as well. You know, these guys, the competition in this series, it's so tough, and to be able to put so many guys down at a track like this, I mean, boy, this is just what a drive out of Jesse Gordon. And again, as he continues to celebrate here, he's definitely enjoying this one, but we'll have to see if we can get him in here. And I don't want to interrupt the celebration too much, but definitely want to be able to have a chance to speak with him.
As we'll get ready to see if we can get him on the radio here, Jesse Gordon continues to celebrate here at Darlington. Let's jump on the radio there with the 1-0 of Jesse Gordon, who gets his 5th victory of the season. Jesse, I know you were just celebrating this one to the finish. You're still on the front stretch there. I don't think you've gotten out of the car yet. But you win this race by about 4.5 seconds. Just tell us, what's the cheat code to Darlington?
Darlington's one of my favorite tracks to run, just simply for, tire attrition, and there's usually always a fuel strategy of some kind. But, luckily with all those cautions, the first stint, the fuel strategy wasn't much of an issue, but tires mattered most, of course. And when you came to pit road to leapfrog someone on the beginning of this stretch, sometimes you pay for it on the long run, which is what kind of happened that second stint with Reeder. Reeder had far more pace over the long run, and he just drove by us. And I was kind of unsure of what to do for the last pit stop there. But when I saw Jordan pit, I was like, well, that's a little early. And then for fuel, and then Paul pitted. I was like, well, I gotta kind of respond to that, because Paul was fast, and luckily was able to leapfrog him in the pits, and was able to hold my track position and stay ahead of everybody. And that definitely helped me play into of how I passed cars and managed my tires that last run.
Yeah, that last green flag run, our longest green flag run of the race, it seems as though once you were able to chase down, I think Dustin Klebo was in the lead at the time, and I believe Jordan Tross was up there as well. Once you got by those guys, it seemed as though they were in quicksand and you had rockets on your tires. Is that how much of a difference you had after those last pit stops there? And did you not have to use so much chasing those guys to where once you got up there, you could just let it loose?
I think there was a big enough deficit on tire. I think 5 or 10 laps between those guys that when they pitted versus when I pitted. So there was such that 5 laps matters quite a bit, and it showed up to where I was able to get by and make my passes relatively easily. I think Jordan pulled over, and so did the number 1. He also did. Kind of gave me enough space to make my pass easy, but it was just a matter of if you didn't spend too much time side by side and battling in their dirty air. If you were able to get by them fast enough, you were able to manage your tires a lot better over the course of the run. So, yeah, it was just that. And then I also knew Reeder pitted after me about 5 or so laps, and he was going to have fresh tires and make a charge. And I was just trying to manage that gap and hopefully, not make any real big mistakes like I did the first stint, where I hit the wall and I actually ended up with like 1.5 minutes of wheel damage and everything. So, yeah, I had to fix that in the pits, that second stint, and was able to get it all fixed. So, yeah, it was a little bit chaos, but that's Darlington.
Yeah, absolutely. You're able to detain the lady in black here, Jesse. Before we get to that championship hunt, I did have one last kind of insight question for you. And with the lead that you had there it was, I believe, about 4.5 seconds, 4 seconds. A mindset of we kind of talked about it on air, the mindset of a driver. Do you, at any point, you have a lead like that with less than 15, 20 laps to go? Or is it the same drive the entire race until that checkered flag waves?
Well, I was managing it a little bit, so I didn't have to use all my tires up because I had that gap. And I knew Reeder was going to be pushing hard, so eventually our tire deficit would equalize because he's racing hard to catch up and make the time, and I was able to just manage the gap and keep my tires from overheating. And that's also the key too, is not getting your tires too hot, because then they just don't stick and they don't turn right or grip up off the corner. And it's managing that gap with the relative. I was looking at it and just kind of keeping it there at like 3.5, 4 seconds, and just managing it for the most part, not trying to make any real big mistakes. So yeah, overall it was a fun race though. I love this track.
Oh man, well we can't wait to see you next week, Jesse. And with that victory, that ties you with Jordan Tross for the most victories on the season. I'm counting down the races: 1, 2, 3, 4 races to go. I would have to say it's going to be you two guys going down for those last 4 races of the season. Quite a head-to-head battle. You came into tonight's race 4th in those point standings. This should put you second to Jordan Tross going into Auto Club next week. So just a quick thoughts on your chances at Auto Club next week. And then Jesse, of course, with that race victory, a big one here tonight, the Lady in Black. I'd love to give you that podium to thank any of the sponsors.
Yeah, definitely want to thank my local track. I race at Paris Auto Speedway for obviously still staying alive in California here, where racetracks do not usually last very long. But yeah, shout out to them. Of course, my wife and my baby Bristol Gordon. She's almost turning 1 here in the next 3 weeks, and you know, it's been a blessing having her in my life, and my wife obviously being able to put up with me racing on here as long as I do, and of course my sponsors, Caritas Tires, Davis Trenching, United Tint, and Wraps, Empire Motorsports, Linex, Amsoil, everybody that helps me out.
Well, Jesse, you're definitely going to be one of the guys to keep an eye out on with only 4 races to go. You get your 5th victory of the season. Congratulations on I have to say, a clinical performance here tonight at the Lady in Black.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. That was Jesse Gordon, our race winner here tonight at Darlington. What a performance, Oscar. He wins this race by about 4.5 seconds. But the man, he did win that race over by about 4.5 seconds. You're catching up with. That's the driver, the 85 of Dakota Reader.
Yeah, man. I'm here on pit road with Dakota Reader, who finishes second. Just comes up a bit shy at the end. Dakota, we saw you play a little bit of a different strategy than Jesse Gordon there at the end, about a 6-lap difference. Do you think maybe looking back at it now you would change maybe that gap between you two pitting to maybe give yourself a better chance to catch Jesse Gordon at the end?
Yeah, I had told myself that I was going to pit around a lap 85, and I thought that Jesse was going to do similar when he pitted a couple laps early. I actually thought that was going to swing my way, just because I had the run before, I had eaten them up so much on just saving my tires. I'm like, well, if I just save my tires on this last run and have them five laps fresher, I should blow their doors off, and that just didn't work out. So he executed at pit road really, really well. He beat me there, and I also had a couple lap cars that I didn't get by very, very efficiently, and that hurt my chances. So yeah, he definitely earned it. Like, that was there were so many different strategies kind of all over the place, and turns out he nailed it. So congrats to him.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about lap cars being tough to pass, but I mean, just in general, this place is so difficult to make a pass. You have a narrow 1 and 2, but then 3 and 4. I mean, you got to be so easy on throttle to avoid making a mistake or a bobble and losing time. And, you know, I mean, overall, it wasn't bad. Second is still good. And when you look at the points as well, I think you move yourself up to third unofficially. So sitting, again, unofficially 14 points back from Jordan, then 1 point back from Jesse Gordon. I mean, when you look at that, is there anything that you kind of have to think about going into next week that you need to do either the same or better to keep that points gap or even make up some grounds?
Yeah, I think realistically I'm going to have to win 2 of the last however many races. Jordan just doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and so gaining 15 points on him in a race is going to be really hard unless you win. And then, of course, if you don't win, Jesse or Paul are probably going to win. So it's like you almost have to. I finished 4th last week, which I really stole that finish. I didn't deserve to finish there, but second this week. If I could just keep finishing in the top 3, I've like my at least my podium chances. But if I'm gonna win the whole thing, I gotta win at least 1, probably 2. So that's the mindset going forward.
Yeah, definitely. You know, you talk about Jordan being a tough one to beat. I mean, him and Jesse, those two have just been on a stellar season so far. I mean, you sit right behind them as well. But you talk about needing to maybe win 2 of the last 4 tracks. Well, what tracks out of Auto Club, Rockingham, Richmond, and then Kansas, the season finale, what do you think the 2 tracks are that would give you the best opportunity to maybe make up those points or take the top spot in the standings?
Yeah, I live about 30 minutes from Kansas Speedway. It's without a doubt my best 1.5-mile track. I have so many laps there. So that's one. I know Jordan's pretty good. I mean, all these guys are going to be good there, but Kansas is like near and dear to my heart. Love that track. It's home track for me. What was the other ones? Richmond. I just ran 200 laps there at in a different league in a cup car, which isn't going to translate too much, but some lines and stuff. I don't know. I'll have a chance at a podium there probably. Auto Club, I feel like, is going to be like like Talladega. It's going to be draft heavy, and then Rockingham, I think, is more of a wild card race. I think that's going to be more of a niche win for a guy that just is really good at that kind of thing. So that's typically not me, but we ran Rockingham last year and it was pretty good there. So I don't know. We'll see. It's not the best tracks for me coming up, but it's certainly. I'm not going to write myself off.
Well, I don't think we have you written off either to compete for the championship here as these weeks wind down. Before we let you go debrief with the rest of your team, is there any sponsors you'd like to thank or any shouts you'd like to give?
Yeah, Dustin Kleba, he's my teammate. He always helps with just like understanding lines and lift points and those things. So he and I give a lot of good information to each other throughout the race. So thanks to him. This year is the last year that I'm running a KPR car. I launched my own business, so now I'll have my own company on the front of the car. So that'll be exciting. But thanks guys for putting the race on, and thanks to the guys that run the league and making this free for us that we could just come out and have some fun. So appreciate it.
All right, Dakota, thanks for taking a moment to speak with us, and we look forward to you rounding out these next few weeks in hopefully a good positioning and maybe coming out with a championship to your name.
Yeah, I sure hope so. We'll see.
Alrighty, that was Dakota Reeder who finishes in second there. Well, maybe looking back at it, like Keeksora talked about, he had that idea in mind coming into the race, and looking back at it, maybe wanting to pit a lap or 2 earlier if he got another chance at it. So I'm sure as he goes to these next 4 weeks, he'll probably think about that if we do see some green flag pit stops, and that'll probably be a factor into how he decides after tonight. But I think we're standing by with our third place driver, Paul White.
Yes, we are. I'm standing by with the driver of the 25 machine, Paul White. Gets another podium here tonight, Paul. We've already spoken to our top 2 finishers. The race got kind of spread out there at the end, but you were always in the mix inside of that top 5. Take us through one of your best races you've had all season.
Oh yeah, this actually, I love this track. This track here is one of those tracks that you basically race the track, and it was a fun race tonight. I beat myself up where it's pit stops. I need to get better on pit stops. Jesse nailed it the pit stop, leapfrogged me on that last pit stop, cycle. So that was, I would say, the winning move, for Jesse, and congrats to him, congrats to Dakota. But as far as the Darlington itself, it's like I said, it earns its name, the Lady in Black. You got to be patient. You have to be very aware of the do's and don'ts at this track. So it's easy to get sucked in and make a move that it costs you in the long run. So patience is the biggest thing. Patience on the throttle and patience with the drivers. And if you can control those 2 things, you end up, with a good finish. And I think if you look at the top, the top 10 basically, I would say probably they all did that. They used patience.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where we had so many green flag laps, you had to use that patience as far as strategy goes and planning things out. And it looks as though your strategy it was a little bit different than a lot of some of the other drivers that kind of put you in that third spot. You had Jordan Trost trying to catch you. You were trying to catch Dakota Reader there at the end by about 2 seconds. Did you just kind of stick to your own strategy, or did you kind of let others influence your decisions throughout tonight's race? It was a weird one. We had a lot of those cautions to start the race, and then a long green flag run to end the race.
No, I actually, when it went green, I had stuck to my plan. I wanted to pit with 40 to go, and when we were coming, actually, if you go the back before we came to that last pit cycle, I actually made it to the lead, and I was running first. And Jesse was second, and I believe Dakota was third at the time, and I had about a half-second lead. I probably led probably about 4 or 5 laps leading, maybe even more than that, 4 or 5 laps leading up to that green cycle. And that's where I screwed the pooch. I went in as the leader 5 seconds ahead, and I went way too conservative entrance into pit road. And Jesse pitted the next lap after me, and he literally came out about a second and a half ahead of me. So that's where we leapfrogged there, and then Dakota waited an extra 5 laps, which I didn't think he was going to have time to use the tire to get back to us because of the time he was going to lose. But it worked out to his favor. He obviously passed me, and then Jordan, obviously, he was on a total different game plan with a fuel strategy. So I mean, yes, you had so much different strategies. I think the top 3 was on the same strategy. Jordan and Dustin, the number 1, I believe them 2 were on a total different fuel strategy. So that's where the strategies were being mixed in together. But me and Jesse and Dakota, we were on basically the same strategy.
It's going to be a strategic battle down the stretch with Auto Club next week, Paul. And throughout tonight's race, you were just talking about how you were battling with Jordan, with Dakota, with Jesse all throughout tonight's race. And I think looking at the point settings, they've been updated. It's really going to be you 4 guys that have a realistic shot at that championship in these last 4 races. I mean, you got to be feeling pretty good heading into Auto Club, and then you're going to get 3 more chances after that. I mean, how do you like your championship? Of course, Jesse Gordon and Jordan Trost are at the top right now, but as you mentioned, consistency is key, and you've yet to really get one of those big victories yet this season.
Yeah, I still feel like, I mean, I have a legitimate shot. Obviously, the other guys I'm sure feel the same as far as the tracks that are coming up. I mean, we're all good racers. I mean, what I mean by good, not it ain't just the results of say the wins, but you usually have about the same kind of group of guys racing around each other. We things that y'all don't hear on the broadcast, but we there's a lot of respect on the track between all of us guys. None of us are teammates, but we give the respect. If somebody's faster with fresher tires, roll over, let them go. But we race each other hard, and with the upcoming tracks coming, I'm sure they all feel the same way. I feel confident in my ability to compete with those guys, and you never know. As long as you stay in the hunt and keep yourself in position, sometimes it's not sometimes it's luck, and sometimes things go in your way. But as long as you keep yourself in that position, which I feel like I have just as good a chance as anybody else, and just hope the cards fall in your direction. So I think it's going to come down to the last race. I'm sure Jordan still has a little bit of an edge on us, but it's obviously tightened up between second, third, and fourth. I know we're on top of each other. We got to be. I haven't even looked at the points, but I know we'd have to be. And Jordan's got a little cushion, obviously with the win on the first race, but it just takes one mistake and it can ruin your whole championship season. So any one of us, 4 or 5, could have that mistake and just ruin your chances. So if we stay racing like we did tonight, I think it's going to be a nail biter all the way down to the last race.
Oh, we can't wait and see. Only 4 races to go here this season, folks. And Paul, you know the drill with these podium finishes so far this season. We love to give you drivers the opportunity to shout out anybody you had watching here tonight or any sponsors that may have helped you get onto that podium.
Yes, I first and foremost, I always say thank you to my wife for allowing me to enjoy this. You know, she lets me have my fun on a couple nights a week. And my Extreme Fears, my teammates on Extreme Fear, and for you guys, Will, you and Oscar, y'all put on a hell of a show for us to go back and watch, and Rat Fink League itself, give us a good place to race at. So just want to thank all y'all for giving us a place to race, everyone that tunes in watching, and all the competitors, that show up each and every week. So looking forward to next week and looking forward to a good season.
Well, we appreciate you, Paul. We appreciate you, the show you put on for us here tonight, and we're excited to see what you have in store to close out this season. You're definitely still in that championship hunt, only 15 points behind our leader, Jordan Tross. Appreciate you, Paul. You have a great night, my man. We'll catch you at Auto Club next week.
You bet, Will. Appreciate it, guys.
Yes, sir. That was Paul White, the driver of the 2.5. And Oscar, you we're looking at it up here in the booth. It has been updated over at the RFRL League website as well. A lot of things coming out of tonight's race, Oscar. With I spoke about coming in tonight's race and maybe the end of the road for some of those playoff drivers. And it will be the end of the road for John Crosby in that 73 machine and Tommy Wynn are both mathematically eliminated from that championship hunt. Tommy Wynn is 47 points behind. John Crosby, 60 points behind. So, Oscar, officially, that will leave 8 drivers. We'll race it out here at Auto Club. David Bersecki, Tom Ringer, Brandon Hinton, Anthony Harden, all in that danger zone. And then Paul White just mentioned it, Oscar. We have a Paul White only 15 points behind, Dakota Reader 14 points, Jesse Gordon 13 points. So really it's a 4-truck race heading into Auto Club.
Yeah, and like you mentioned there, Will, even though Tommy Wynn had that good finish tonight, it's not going to be enough. Crosby with his issues, we kind of saw that once he had that hit to the outside wall that we knew by the looks of it that he probably wouldn't be able to have the speed that he needed to complete the end of the race. And yeah, like you mentioned, really 8 drivers still technically in it, but we look to those top 4, Jordan, Jesse, Dakota, and Paul, all separated by within 15 points of one another. Those guys, as we head to Auto Club, Will, I don't know if you have a favorite, but I mean, if we're going to talk about speed-wise recently, you have to look at Jesse Gordon, but I would say don't count out Paul White there. I mean, he seems to be able to put himself in a podium or a top 5 finish in a majority of these races, and he could be just quietly gaining those points that he needs to maybe where if these 3 drivers in front of him get caught up in something or make a mistake, he could be right there to take advantage of that.
And as Paul mentioned, you just have to stay consistent. You'll have a shot at the end. And, we've seen the past couple of weeks, Oscar, Jordan Tross has had some issues. Jesse Gordon has had some issues. They both, of course, picked up checker flags in the past couple of weeks as well. That's helped their point standings. But for both those guys, who knows what could happen at Auto Club? What could happen at Richmond here towards the end of the season? I mean, a lot of things could still happen. One of these guys picks up a checkered flag, gets a top 3, another guy doesn't. That shakes up all these point standings leading into Auto Club next week. But here tonight at Darlington, week number 16 is in the books. Let's go ahead and check out those official results. We just talked to Jesse Gordon, Dakota Reader, Paul White, our top 3. Jordan Tross, as I mentioned, is going to finish 4th. That could be our championship 4 right there, folks. They finished 1, 2, 3, 4 here tonight. We had a newcomer, Judson Curtis, finish in the top 5. Tommy Wynn, as mentioned, hell of a fight out of the 71. Is going to finish 6th here tonight. Don't know if that's going to keep him in that championship hunt. It looks as though that run may end at Darlington. Brandon Hinton's going to finish 7th. He's also going to take home the biggest mover of the night award, finishing 16 spots to the good from the drop of that green flag. Anthony Burleson comes home 8th, David Bersecki 9th, and Dustin Kleba are top 10. Of course, only 8 trucks finish on the lead lap. We had Todd Perront finish in that 11th position, and after that, it's just a slew of drivers who wish their nights went a different direction. Gonna go a little rapid fire for you folks at home. Cooper Brackens 12th, Seth Cooper 13th, Christopher Terry, a newcomer in tonight's race, showed early speed, does come home 14th. Keith Vaughn 15th, Anthony Harden 16th. He's still in that playoff run as well. Zachary Wynn 17th, Jim Jackson 18th, Daniel McConnell 19th, John Crosby, Mr. W himself. That championship run will probably end here tonight as well. Justin Clapper 21st, Tom Ringer 22nd, Ryan Sousa 23rd, and of course Victor Etheridge will round out our field here tonight. Oscar, week 16's in the books, playoff race number 2 as well. We head to playoff race number 3 next week. This is the different one here tonight. Oscar, any final thoughts about the...
Well, Will, I would say, after an outstanding race here tonight, next week is going to be so intense, especially out of those top 4 drivers. It's going to be probably those top 4 that are going to be probably inside the top 5 dueling it out. I mean, we see the speed these past few weeks, so look to them to be aggressive and solidify themselves as the top dog.
You do not want to miss next week's race, especially after Jesse Gordon gets his 5th victory of the season here tonight at Darlington. But it will be a cross-country flight for us up here in the booth. The rest of these drivers will make the long haul to the West Coast for week 17 at Auto Club, with only 3 races to go after that race for that championship hunt. But for myself, William Tiller, the lead producer, co-commentator Oscar Jensen up here in the Turn Sector Media broadcast booth, we want to wish everybody a great night. A huge congratulations to Jesse Gordon, a.k.a. Batman, for winning tonight's race in week 16. We'll catch you all on the West Coast next week. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you then.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
play chess while all these other boys are playing checkers.
Let's get as many points as we can. It all starts right here. Are you ready?
And the green flag is in the air. Here they come, storming to turn one. This is incredible!
Can he get it done? The grandstands are going wild.
Yeah, let's go, baby!
They're crashing mid-pack. Checkered flag is out.
What a finish, boys.